On this week's episode of the Program Guys podcast, the Rams are your Super Bowl champions, and one guy is getting a spray tan. We find out who it is. We discuss the award winners from the NFL honors. Some college football writers don't have OU in their too early top 25, and we try to figure out why. We had boots on the ground for OU softball in California. We recap their undefeated weekend. Plus, we watch a new HBO show thanks to Ryan. All right, let's get started.
3, 2, 1.
There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
What's up, and welcome into episode number 6 of the Program Guys podcast. I'm Mason Prince, joined as always by Patrick Hertzberger, Ryan Tyson, Mark Hall, and Matt Gann. Today is Wednesday, February 16th. Boys, I am a fiance, for people who don't know.
Yeah, you are.
Shout out to my beautiful fiance, Katie Beth. She listens to the pod. I love you very much. Got engaged on Saturday. It was a good time. Very fun. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Don't know when the wedding's going to be. Don't ask me. We'll figure it out as we get there. You know what I mean?
We'll keep you posted, listeners.
Yeah,
we'll
keep you posted. Yeah.
Mason, let us know. We'll let them know.
Yeah.
Are we gonna live pod your wedding?
Yes, we're gonna live pod the wedding. Every listener's invited. If you subscribe, you have an invitation. We're looking at 10,000 people wedding.
Yeah,
so it's gonna be.
Katie's not gonna be happy about that.
No, it's fine. She'll be okay.
She wants a big wedding.
Yeah, she wants a big wedding. Yeah.
Well, shoot. Well, I had this whole thing for you, Mason. I even texted the other guys. I was like, "Hey, we should do something for Mason. Maybe mention that he got engaged this week, but you went ahead and took it from me." So, hey,
listen, if there's one thing that we learned 5 episodes through this podcast, is that it's all about me, and you guys are just here for the ride.
That's honestly true.
Yeah, facts.
That's most of the feedback.
And I appreciate
that. Mark, did you say that's all I want from this? Is that what you said? Okay, that's fair. All right, guys, let's talk about the Super Bowl. We have a new Super Bowl champion. My boss, Stan Kroenke, and his LA Rams, and Pat's LA Rams.
Yep, that's my team, baby.
Are the Super Bowl champs, and they beat the Bengals. They survive the Bengals and win that game. Matt Stafford gets himself a Super Bowl ring. People asking if he's now Hall of Fame caliber. Mark, I like all the Falcons fans talking. If he's a Hall of Famer, then so is Matt Ryan. I'm a big fan of that. Guys, what are your takeaways from that Super Bowl? Bengals covered massive. We'll get to that in a second. But what'd you take away?
Just one thing on that topic of Matt Ryan. If Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer, then so is Joe Flacco. All right, because Flacco's got a Super Bowl.
Let's not get this started.
Okay. All right, we won't get it started today. I really thought that Joe Burrow getting the ball back with less than a minute left, or a minute 30, I think is when he got it back. But they were at midfield with less than a minute left. In my mind, I was like, he's going to score. He's going to score. Yeah, It really felt like it.
And then they got to 2nd and 1.
Yeah.
And blew it on 3 plays because 2 of those plays were going to Samaje Perine for some reason.
Yeah, that's a tough look.
I think I saw somewhere Mixon was getting 4.6 yards per carry, and he wasn't in any of the 4 and 1 or 3rd and 1.
The most critical downs.
Did we hear if he was hurt or not? Or was that just like a decision to not put him in?
I think the problem was the clock was running and they didn't want to use a timeout to get a substitution. Or maybe they were out of timeouts and couldn't. I had a few general thoughts about the game that I thought we could hit. Cooper Kupp, what a close to the game on that final drive. I wrote down 4 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. He also had that 7-yard end around one on 4th and 1 and the touchdown to close it out. Stafford also went to him 3 times in the red zone that got all those penalties down there. And I still don't think he should have been the MVP.
I agree.
Because Aaron Donald should have been the MVP. And funny enough, I saw on Twitter the other day, they vote on this before the 2-minute warning. So all the votes had to be in. If you give them the time to finish out this game, don't you think Aaron Donald wins with that last drive?
But
yeah. Aaron Donald was a menace to society that entire game.
But also Cooper Kupp was incredible in those last 2 minutes, right?
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
So like,
you're right, but
I still
was
think there
he
would have
the
been an
most-
argument.
What now? You could make the argument that the most valuable, like Cooper, was that because when Odell went out, the offense stopped for the Rams. I tweeted when they looked so stagnant, I was like, just give the ball to Cooper Kupp. Literally figure it out. Just
And that's
give
what
him
I
the
mean. That's
ball.
what Stafford did.
And that's what he
On
did
that
in the
last
fourth
drive.
quarter.
game to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why it took so long, but yeah, it's not simple. By the way, that pass to Kupp over the middle, I did not know was a no look.
That was
I did not
insane.
know it
I
was
had
a
no
no
idea.
look until after the game. That was sick.
There's an
And
angle going out where you can see Von Bell, the safety, move to the right and then move to the left, and then the ball goes past him to the right.
Oh, that's sick.
It's so great.
That was really good. Sorry, Mark, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No worries. The last thing I wanted to hit on is I know that us Rams backers did not win this week. We did not cover this week, but I want to acknowledge that if Odell Beckham doesn't tear his ACL, we're looking at a 52-14 kind of game.
Oh, that's
we'll never know.
They were shutting
they
it
picked
down.
OBJ down.
We're going
I
to
completely
put-
agree with Mark.
They were going
completely
to
agree.
put their
There's a
foot on the
reason that you
gas and
completely
the
agree,
nail in the
Patrick.
No,
coffin.
it's
They
true.
weren't
When OBJ
stopping
is a
them.
different
With
game. It's a
OBJ
different
in the
game.
One at a
game, it
time,
was a
one at a
different
time.
game.
Yes.
Patrick's right, though.
You
With
can't
OBJ
make
in
like
the game, it
what
was a
if
different game.
situations that we have no idea what that game would have done.
Sure, we can. We're talking about it.
I kind of
Everything we talk about is a
know
what if
you-
situation.
but you can say
Obviously,
like,
you
oh, it
can't
would've been
know.
this,
I'm
but
just saying the
no idea.
game that we saw with Odell Beckham was a different game than when he went out. Because it's like we all just said, the offense sputtered because they had no idea how to get the ball to Cooper Kupp. Up to that point, the offense was flying down the field.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gave the Bengals an opportunity, though, right? I mean, OBJ goes down. Looks like the Rams had it, like you said. But fair enough to the Bengals. They made adjustments. You think they would double Cooper Kupp. Looks like they didn't do that, especially on the last drive. You think the only guy that can catch a football on that team would be Cooper. But, I mean, I'll give him the MVP. I mean, he made some major catches, had the game-winning touchdown over the worst corner in the league, Eli Apple, and he got absolutely roasted the entire game. But I'll give it to Joe Burrow. I mean, the guy got sacked, 8 more times in this game for a total of 20 times during the postseason. Get that man some offensive line, and he'll be back in the Super Bowl.
The Bengals are trying to kill him.
Yeah, they really are.
Remember when he sprained his ankle or whatever, and he grabbed his knee. He grabbed his knee, and it was the opposite knee that he had surgery on.
Yeah.
It looks like he should have had surgery on that one. They're trying to get that man killed. And I said that when they drafted Jamar Chase. Granted, the pick was amazing and Jamar Chase is great, but I said during the draft, I'm like, they do not want Joe Burrow to live because they had no one to block for him last year and they didn't upgrade this year. And that's partly why they lost the game. A large part why they lost the game is because they got dominated up front.
Exactly.
Imagine if they did have a capable offensive line with
Be
how
amazing.
the offense was working, because Mixon was able to run the ball still. And throughout the postseason, Joe Burrow found a way to make things work. They had an offensive line that could be a real team.
Yeah, it really could. And I mean, that they have an offseason to do it. I think they know their biggest glaring weakness. If they don't address it, then it's fully on the GM, fully on the decision makers. Like that's pretty much it. Guys, we have a official loser in our playoff pick'em. Can I get a drum roll, please? Drum roll, please. We can't even hear it. It is Patrick Hertzberger. Patrick Hertzberger will be getting a spray tan.
I'm here.
All right.
Patrick,
Yeah,
do you have
love
anything
to
to
see
say?
it.
Anything to
Yeah,
say?
the guy who suntans on the beach every weekend is going to have to go get a damn spray tan.
That's
are.
okay. You're
Yeah.
going to film it and it's going to be
I'm
great.
going to fit in. So
I
I have
want
to
you-
film like the process.
I mean, I don't need to see
Okay.
your family jewels or anything, but
Right.
yeah, I would like to see you getting
I'm
sprayed
definitely
down.
I'm gonna post some pictures.
Maybe if Becca
Out
could
and
get
about.
the
Yeah.
going in and coming out.
Can we
that
get,
would
like,
be
Yeah,
a-
before and after. We need
Yeah,
one
before and
That's
after would be
nice.
great.
Yeah,
But
Can
the
we get a Becca vlog? That's what we need.
Yeah,
but
sure.
the after doesn't need to be immediately after. You need to wait a few hours because it gets darker with time.
I want
So
both.
okay. Mark wants both. and
you
that's
guys
what
will
we're
get it
gonna
all.
do. Okay. Okay. Well, Mark won, by the way. Mark won the playoff pick'em. So congrats to Mark. He
knows football. He knows football.
He does. He knows football. Patrick, you don't know football.
I think it was karma for getting too excited about winning both fantasy football leagues. It was going to happen.
Okay, guys, I got a text this week from one of our listeners, Derek Dillingham. Shout out to Derek Dillingham from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He sent me a text and he said he really likes listening to the show, but he had a stat that he wanted to hear us discuss. And the stat is this: teams with the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks for each season have only won the Super Bowl 3 times since the year 2000. That's Eli Manning in 2011 and 2007, where he ranked 5th and 4th respectively. And then Drew Bledsoe was the Patriots quarterback when he started in 2001, but that's the year that Brady won. So what does that tell you? To me, we put so much value on quarterbacks, as we should. That's how you get there. But what does it tell you that not even if you get a big contract and you're devoting a large portion of your salary cap to a quarterback, you're usually putting yourself in a pretty bad position.
Mm-hmm.
The tough thing is, sorry, Ryan, you go ahead.
Oh, no. I mean, I think I was going to say, I think this also just shows how difficult it is to win multiple Super Bowls. Like, to me, like, I look at Patrick Mahomes and like what he was able to do when the Chiefs won that year. And then he got paid right after. People who win Super Bowls get paid. And then it gets difficult on how do you win again? And Eli being in there twice is astounding to me. I just think that's so funny that he's the one out of anybody in there that is in there twice.
So funny.
I think the thing is, and it's what Ryan said, but I don't even think you have to win a Super Bowl to be in the conversation. The Browns are in this situation with Baker Mayfield right now. Do we pay him like a top-notch quarterback when the rest of the team we think is ready to compete, but we're not sure if Baker is? Or do we think we can go find something better? Because if you pay him, suddenly you can't upgrade the rest of the roster the way that you would like to, because all your money's tied up in the quarterback position. That's what keeps this stat what it is teams that aren't paying their quarterback can afford to get talent elsewhere.
You're right. And I think Ryan hit the nail on the head with you have to win when you are not devoting that much money to your quarterback. That's why this list is so short, is because the teams that are winning. And then those respective quarterbacks who win, who aren't getting paid, say, pay me my money because we just won a Super Bowl and that's what you do. And then they get paid. So I think there's like 2 sides to it. And I think one can't happen without the other, and one happens because of the other, if that makes any sort of sense. Matt, did you have anything?
Honestly, I think it's a pretty phenomenal stat. I honestly never would have guessed that. I'm even surprised Stafford.
That's all. 5. By the way, credit to Derek. That was all Derek.
Yeah.
That wasn't an article or anything. The dude was just bored and looked it up. And shout out to Derek. But go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
No, it's surprising that Stafford wasn't even in the top 5. But now thinking about it, they pretty much paid their entire defense, which ultimately, with Aaron Donald and company, led them to winning that game on Sunday. So pretty phenomenal stat. But like you said, there's a lot of different factors that go into it, considering that, for an example, that when Nick Foles won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, he got big money after that, and he ended up doing nothing afterwards. So a couple different things, but pretty phenomenal stat. You got to pay the whole roster and have a complete team other than just having a high pay quarterback.
I imagine Patrick Mahomes will be on that list in the next couple of years. But that's just I guess looking forward.
I mean, we'll see. I don't really know what they did this year besides just choke it away.
I know.
I mean, I don't know what the deal is.
They probably should have been in that Super Bowl game.
to be completely fair, sorry, Matt, you could say the exact same about Aaron Rodgers. You can say the exact same thing. And Tom Brady. You could say the same thing. So
and
Patrick,
Matt Ryan
did you have anything?
time.
Matt Ryan one time. That's right. Pat, you have anything or no?
All good.
All right, Patrick's all good. Hey, Patrick, one more time. Shout out to you for your Rams. At least they won the Super Bowl. That's your number 3.
It's my number 2.
It's your number 2. Okay,
yeah,
that's on me. It's my bad. That's your number 2. NFL honors were held just a couple days before the Super Bowl, I believe, and we have Aaron Rodgers winning the MVP again, his 4th. Cooper Kupp, offensive player of the year. TJ Watt, your defensive player of the year. Jamar Chase, offensive rookie of the year. Micah Parsons, defensive rookie of the year. Joe Burrow, comeback player of the year. Mike Vrabel, coach of the year. Agree, disagree? Anything stand out to you guys from that list?
I'd have gone with Dak
Ooh.
over Joe Burrow.
Oh,
Who'd you say?
I'd have gone with Dak.
Dak? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Matt?
I was going to say, I got to give props to my boy, A-Rod. 4th MVP honors. One behind only the Peyton Manning at 5. If he continues to play, he probably could tie, but he had another incredible year. Guys, crazy stat. 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. If you guys are good at math, that's over a 9 TD to interception ratio. Absolutely incredible. I'm a little bit surprised that Tom Brady didn't get more votes because he had another phenomenal year as well. But I can't be too sad about it. A-Rod, 4th MVP. He deserved it.
I'm kind of bothered by coach of the year. I get Vrabel, like they were the 1 seed. I get it. But Zach Taylor, that team was dead in the water. If he misses the playoffs this year, he's fired. He's fired. And he made the Super Bowl this year. Granted, I know the voting was probably done before they got to the Super Bowl, all that, but still, he took a team that had a quarterback coming off of an ACL surgery, took them to the playoffs. I think that's a guy who deserves more credit than Mike Vrabel, a team that proved last year that they were talented enough to go to the Super Bowl. That's just my only issue with the list.
I would second that for sure. I mean, Texans beat the Titans this year, and then they only lost to them by 3 in their last game. So I don't know. I wouldn't give it to Mike Vrabel.
The Titans were the 1 seed with Derrick Henry out for a stretch of the year, a long stretch of the year, and Julio Jones in and out as per usual. I mean, I think that's just like probably coaches giving him, a vote that way. That's what I would say.
And I mean, again, you can make a very strong case for Vrabel. I'm just saying, in my opinion, the more impressive season belonged to Zach Taylor and what he did with that Bengals roster.
Fair enough.
Because obviously they don't have an offensive line that can block with a damn. But that's what I have. Anything else about the NFL? Oh, Patrick, guys, we're moving up Patrick's hot take this week for the sake of flow. Patrick, I want you to put that bucket hat on. I want you to give me your hot take. The Rams win the Super Bowl, and they're called the world champions, but Patrick has something to say about that.
I just don't think you can call the winner of the American National Football League a world champion. I don't know if it's a hot take because the rest of the world besides America would probably agree with me on this one, but I think you just can't call him the world champion.
So my thing is this: you're probably coming to the table with this hot take because of how soccer does it. And soccer has all those leagues in different countries. Whereas football is an extremely, extremely American sport. And there's not top leagues that compete against each other anywhere else in the world. Like this is the league, like the winner of the NFL and the winner of this Canadian Football League don't play each other. Like this is it. So in the world of football, they are the world champion. That's where I think it comes from.
I get the argument. It's probably an agree to disagree kind of thing.
Okay, so I'm not going to change your mind regardless of what I say.
No.
Okay.
No. And I'm probably not going to change yours either.
Patrick's mind?
But I do think like if, when the World Football League did exist back in the day and the Canada Football League did exist, if they all played by the same rules and then the winner of those leagues played each other, it would be a world champion. You know what I'm for with the USFL coming back? Why don't the CFL and the USFL teams, the winners of those leagues, play each other? I'm down. Let's figure it out. Why not?
Let's do it. Why not?
So
I do think if we had the NFL playing in the other league, it would be like, and the Rams took down the Red Wings of Calgary 79-0. Right? That wouldn't be any fun. Then
Johnny Manziel,
champs, but
you'd be surprised.
Throwing for 79 and 5 picks. Oh my god, that's good stuff. All right,
What were you
Pat,
going to say,
I guess-
Ryan? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. You guys are good. I think I was trying to look up a statistic while you guys were talking, because I'm curious on like how many people actually tune into the Super Bowl and like where they come from. So I think what it says is 2021 numbers. So this was actually last year, but they had an average TV viewership of 91.6 million in the US, plus an estimated 30 to 50 million viewers around the world. That's not World Cup numbers, but those international numbers are still pretty good. So I think when you make a claim like champion of the world, I think people know what the Super Bowl is worldwide, and a lot of people tune into it. And I think you can make an argument, just kind of like Mason said, there's no one else playing football other than these teams. So they're the top. And if 30 to 50 million people around the world are watching this also with America, I think you can make a claim with that.
We're going to go ahead. You just agree? Okay.
There's just
agree.
one thing to point for Mark's point, like
I need it.
just with like other leagues and countries playing the sport. There is a new thing in soccer. It's called the FIFA World Cup for clubs. And so Chelsea actually played last week or 2 weeks ago. They played the winner of like the South American, because Chelsea won the Champions League, and then the South American team that won is from Brazil. So they actually played each other in this cup. They like bring in all the teams now, I think. And so Chelsea only won 2-1. So it's surprising. Maybe Johnny Manziel could get that dub. I don't know, but
It'd be fun
not
to
at all.
watch.
Yeah, it'd be fun to watch.
Are we going to see like the LA Galaxy play like Chelsea or anything, or like whoever won the
I was going to say, I think there might be an MLS team thrown in there, but I'm not too sure. Maybe they're still working on that.
Well, and
the
they
MLS.
used to do stuff like the MLS All-Star team plays like a European team that comes.
Yeah,
over.
it happens.
Which, like,
I
how
know that
demoralizing.
happens.
How
That's a tough one.
demoralizing.
That's an
Yeah.
L.
That's so tough. Like a
League-wide
massive-
L.
Let's see.
We eat a league-wide L. Guys, I'm excited for this next segment. We're going to talk about OU football and all the news going around OU football in a little bit, but OU softball, a massive weekend. Not only was it a massive weekend, but Matt Gann told you it was going to be a massive weekend, and we had boots on the damn ground.
Yeah, we did.
In California. Take it away, Matt. Let me know how it went.
Wow. What a fantastic weekend for the OU softball women. Incredible. Had 5 total games, went 5-0. 41 runs scored, only 1 run allowed in those 5 games. They won 3 games via run rule, which they did all last year as well. 4 shutouts and also 9 home runs as well. 2 by Allo, by the way, who I mentioned in last podcast, is getting closer to that all-time NCAA record. And one of them, a grand slam, because why not? That's just who Allo is. Now, the biggest game of the week was against number 3 UCLA, who we ended up being 4-1. Most impressive thing coming out of that game was the freshman right-handed pitcher, Jordy Ball, throwing 14 strikeouts. I mean, she was not giving anything up, anything. And I know I talked about the pitching might be, one of the weaker points for the OU staff this year and what that was going to look like, just because they have a lot of new fresh faces coming in. Jordy Ball has proven to me, at least, that it might be the strongest point if she keeps wheeling and dealing like she did this week. She had 3 total appearances, 24 strikeouts throughout the weekend, but 12 against the UCLA team. That's pretty dang impressive to me. So really good for that. But like we said, we did have some boots on the ground for that final game against UC San Diego. So Patrick, give me a little heads and what you saw from the Sooners.
Best $30 I've ever spent in my life getting
It was
out there.
$30 for a ticket?
$30.
15 and Becca.
For
came.
Becca. For your girlfriend. Okay. all
Program
right.
gal.
Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to Becca for coming.
Program gal.
So I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about softball, but when
Please
I was
do.
out there, you could just tell how organized that team was compared to UC San Diego. And UC San Diego seemed like a pretty good team too. Like, it was not a super easy game. Way more Sooners in the crowd than San Diego fans, which is hilarious because San Diego is like an hour, 10 minutes away from the field. So that was great to see as well. Super organized, but I think what really sets them apart is they're just not afraid to take any risks. So if they see a base that they can steal, they just go. Like, they're on top of it at all times, so disciplined. And I think that could really set them apart.
Bro, they get to play a tournament in Hawaii this year. I'm jealous. That's pretty sick.
Hello, going home.
Who's
Coming
gonna
up
be
next,
the boots on the ground there?
Pat, probably. You're the closest. Coming up next for the OU softball team, Houston Classic. It's a 5-game little, not even tournament. What do we call it? Like a 5-game set, I guess. They're playing 3 different teams: McNeese State, Houston, and Texas State. So 5 games there.
Can I just say how like wonderful softball is when there's like 5 games in a 2-day stretch or a 2 or 3-day stretch? Like we don't have to do this like 1 game a week thing. And which I love for football. It gets me super excited about it. But like you just go in and you're like, yeah, they're playing at 3:30 and then they're playing at 7:30. And like, the stamina that they have, good for them.
They play a ton of games throughout.
Yeah, they really do. They play a lot of games. Guys, we're moving on to OU football talk now. I debated back and forth on if we should talk about this or not, because way too early top 25 polls are pretty dumb. They're pretty stupid. But the most clickbaity of clickbait top 25s came out this week, not from just one guy, from multiple guys. And it's the Athletic. Is the Athletic now? Mandel? Stuart Mandel of the Athletic put out his top 25 poll too early, and Brett McMurphy. Neither of them have the University of Oklahoma in the top 25. And I want to open this up to Mark, because Mark had a really good tweet earlier today that made a ton of sense. And I want him to explain what he said.
So basically all of these, I don't know. I don't want to disparage anyone, but the people who are making the claim that Oklahoma is just destined for an absolute breakdown, they don't really take criticism at all. You push back on anything that they say, and the immediate thing that you get back is, oh, Oklahoma fans don't really know what's going to come their way. Oklahoma fans are, as Tom Fornelli put it, very much in the got dumped but telling mutual friends that it was their decision phase.
What a whack explanation. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. It's weird, but that's the way that they want to paint these things, when in fact OU went 11-2 in 2021, 7 of those games with a true freshman starting at quarterback. We added a top 10 recruiting class, a top 10 transfer portal class, a coaching staff that 95% of college football would take over their own, just if you took all the pieces and compared it to teams across the country. In fact, according to @Rivals Portal, the highest number of portal entries for scholarship players since August 1st doesn't even have OU in the top 10. It actually has USC in the top 10. There's more stability here than they are giving us credit for. OU is an institution, like our namesake, Bob Stoops, said. This program is bigger than one guy, and we're going to be just fine. My thing that I think I learned today is it's time to stop feeding the trolls, because they do this knowing we are going to take the bait and post about it and get them more clicks, and they're not worth the time anymore. We know OU is going to be fine, and we're going to show them in the fall.
So Mark made a good point about all the reasons why OU is going to be fine. I go to a different side of it. Look at it this way. OU's still in the Big 12. Who is their biggest competition? Iowa State lost pretty much everybody. Baylor is sending 7 guys to the NFL Combine, so they're all gone. OSU's entire defense was 35 years old. They're gone. Texas, okay. No.
Yeah, we talked about Bijan last week.
Like who else? Who else?
I mean,
OU can lose 2 conference games next year and still be in Dallas and still win the conference. They still can. And at 9-4 Oklahoma team that still wins a Big 12 conference title, they won't be 9-4. That was a bad example. But like a team that wins 10 games still, but loses 3 or 2, you're telling me that team still can't win a conference title in a Big 12 that, no offense, is probably going to be down next year? That's my dog Sophie scratching on the door. That's where I'm coming from.
I think if you make a case that Baylor is sending 7, you have to keep in mind OU is sending 11.
Well, I know, but
11
that's
people to
the
the
point
combine.
I'm making. OU's sending it, and OU's dead. OU's dead.
Yeah.
But Baylor's
Look, guys,
doing it, but Baylor's okay.
I mean, my take on this is all for clicks.
I know.
Like they
And you're
know
right.
they know
And
exactly
we're talking
how
about it. We're
they know
talking about it.
I know. And they know exactly how passionate this fan base is. We've talked about that a lot on this podcast, how passionate we are. You can see it in Twitter. And we just went through something that is, I think, a very basically like an emotional breakup in a way, live on Twitter for everyone to see. And everyone's like, oh yeah, we can get clicks off this. We can do it. They're passionate. We can do that. So they're going to do it. And I can tell you right now, probably most of these people are going to come out with their top 25 poll right before the season starts, and OU's probably going to be in it. And they'll just be like, oh, well, things changed. I got more clarity across the season. They perform well at the spring game and all this kind of stuff. They're going to make some bullshit or something. And just, that's why I think, Mark, you put in here somewhere in the outline, just keep these receipts, right?
Yeah.
Don't give them the time of day. Just keep the receipts, and we'll see.
Well, I think you're right. We're going to see a lot of people with phrases like, count me amongst the detractors in the spring, but I'm a believer now. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy back behind me. But that's going to happen with some of these guys. And we just got to know that they're playing the game now. It's the off season.
Pat, Matt, anything?
I would just say, yeah, it's clickbait. I'd agree. OU is a very passionate fan base. If you ever follow OU people on Twitter, I mean, they get after people. Absolutely. So obviously they know what they're doing. I would like to see everything come together, right? We always talk about top 10 recruiting class, the coaching staff coming in. I just want the season to start so we can see it in action, right? And probably the first test of the year is going to be that third game where we go up to Omaha and play Nebraska. That will give me a better tell of what this football team can look like moving forward, especially in this year with all the changes and all that we've coming in. So that's what I'm waiting for. I could care less about what
that game's
currently saying.
That game's in Lincoln, right? I don't know.
Lincoln, sorry, not Omaha.
It's okay. It's Nebraska. There's 2 towns. You just picked the wrong one.
Right. It's a bunch of cornfields.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right. No big deal. I do want to talk about that article. Mark somebody put an article in there from Soonerscoop.com, and it was about Brent Venables basically assembling his staff. And if anybody read that, just go through that for me. Just give me a Cliff Notes version real quick, what you liked about it.
So yeah, that was me that put it in there. You basically hit it. The article frames itself as talking about Brent Venables' experience, kind of shaping how he's building the culture at OU. But a lot of it is really a hit by hit of certain coaches that he's given new opportunities to and how they are fitting into those roles. I will share the link at some point this week through the Program Guys account, and everyone can check it out. It's not behind the paywall at Sooner Scoop. So I think it's a Bob Prisbillo article. I want to give credit where it's due. Yeah. Really great thing. Go check it out.
By the way, be sure to follow us on all of our social media at The Program Guys with a Z on Twitter. Like us, subscribe on YouTube, Program Guys Podcast. Find us on Instagram at Program Guys. That's with a Z. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff, guys. We appreciate reading all your comments as well. Ryan?
Yeah, I just want to touch on one more thing, Venables related. Guys, is Venables going to get me to go back to church?
He might.
Is that going to happen?
He might. I mean, how you feel about it? I mean, we'll Don't discuss your religious views on the pod. Mark looks so scared. We aren't trying to push any of our.
Not even that. Not even that.
Look,
I
you
actually
can edit
think,
this out if you want to, but hey,
I actually
No.
think keep it in. This is a recurring segment. How close is Ryan to attending church?
Let's just
He
call
hears
it.
Brent Venables
Yeah,
talk.
let's just call it how Christian is Ryan, and it'll be every week. And that's what
oh
we'll
my
do.
god, if my mother listens to this podcast, she's gonna like call me.
She better. She better.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
she's
Elizabeth.
gonna be like, you better come with me next week. We'll figure it out.
She can call
Uh,
me if she needs to.
Yeah. All right, we can move on. Oh, that was funny. That was good stuff. Oh man, is Brent gonna give me to go back to church? Maybe. Could be. We're gonna mention OU basketball. We're not gonna get into a lot of talk, but OU men's basketball, they beat Tech by 15 in Norman earlier last week before going to Lawrence to lose to Kansas on Saturday by blowing a lead in Lawrence like OU's tend to do. They are 14-11. They have number 20 Texas coming up tonight. And guys, fill time for me
They're
right
playing
here.
right now.
Yeah,
They're playing right now.
I'm trying to get us a score real quick.
Yeah,
while,
48-45. Texas is up.
There you go, Matt.
I
Gann,
got you.
Look at you, man. Thank you.
I
so
got you.
much. So yeah, not great podcasting talking about a game that's going on right now, but if they win, guys, say something nice about OU in case they won. Say something nice.
I knew it would be Texas.
Great
I
job,
knew it.
team.
Yeah, we love to see it.
Horns down.
Porter Moser. I'm going to name my first son Porter for that. All right, now everyone say something bad in case they lost.
You're almost
Typical.
there, guys. You're almost there.
It's a rebuild year. First year with Porter. I get it.
They might not make
really
the tournament
is
this-
about one every 4 or 5 years. So
Yeah.
give them a couple.
They're so close.
OU baseball starts on Friday. They're picked to finish 6th in the Big 12 conference. Picked to finish first is Texas. So we'll see what happens with OU baseball. If they're good, we'll talk about them. If they're not, sorry, I'm not going to talk about OU baseball. That's just the way that it's going to go. Matt, did you want to talk about men's golf? And just what do we called it? Circle the WaGanns, right? Because your last name's Gann.
Yes.
It's-
Yes.
I like it.
We're
We're
that a
circling the
working
wagon.
title?
circling the WaGanns. No one circles the WaGanns like you.
You
Oh,
like
that's me.
covered? Do you like covered wagons?
Whatever you guys want to do. I love it either way, but I know I mostly talk about softball, but OU as a whole has some great other programs that we have not discussed so far yet on the pod. So
circle
that's why
around
we need
on
to circle around the wagons
There it is.
to let you guys know what's going on. So recap, men's golf, number 1, just competed most recently at the Puerto Rico Invitational or Classic. The team combined shot a under 59 par, which is huge, which is a school record for them. So absolutely killed it. I think they beat Georgia, I think by 6 strokes during that tournament as well. And the number 1 golfer in the country currently on OU, who would have thought? But I know OU has been pretty relevant in golf for the last 4 or 5 years, but Chris Goddard he took home the individual scoring title. He went 20 under par for the week. So really carrying his team on the back there. Men's gymnastics, number 2 right now. Women's gymnastics, number 4. They're usually always competing for the national titles every year. That program or those programs always continuously to be competitive. Another one that's kind of come out of nowhere, or at least that I didn't really know. Women's tennis, currently number 8. They just played at the ITA indoor tourney, lost to North Carolina in the championship, but coming number 2, not bad at all. Men's tennis, number 19. And then like we have spoke about before, the women's OU basketball program, number 12. Incredible stuff by that
Great
new
stuff.
head coach, Jenny. Hopefully to continue going on. I think they lost recently their most recent game, but should have a strong finish and hopefully get into the NCAA tournament. Not like the guys team who's probably not going to make it. So
Matt just talked about some Olympic sports. Mark wants to rant a little bit about that Russian figure skater real quick. I want to hear you rant about it.
Yeah, real
and I'm
fast.
sure Pat has something to say about it too, don't you? Yeah, he shrugs. He's like,
So this bothered me this week, and it bothered me when Sha'Carri Richardson, the sprinter from the Summer Olympics in Sochi, pointed out some of the differences between her situation and the Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva. I'm going to say Camilla or the figure skater moving forward.
That's fair.
So my thing is, we all have to believe in the sanctity of competition, right? We have to believe that what we're watching is fair and on even footing. Otherwise, we're not actually seeing who's superior. We're watching a show. And in this situation, Camilla is being given the opportunity to compete in her figure skating competition, despite being found with 3 different drugs, heart medications, one of which has been banned in her system. Now, the supposed story is that she didn't know what it was, and she's a child. They were doping her. My thing is that isn't really even a part of the discussion. Here's the thing to me. It comes down to one of 3 things, and I will let the listener draw their own conclusions. But I think it comes down to one of 3 things. Either it is the morality of the thing tested positive for. You are either too upset about Sha'Carri Richardson testing positive for weed versus this figure skater testing positive for actually performance enhancing drugs. That's backwards if that's what your reason is. It is because Sha'Carri Richardson is older and somehow is just, they've found that she has agency that Camilla does not, and thus was righteously disbarred where Camilla was not. To me, that's not even a part of it. If you're 15, but you're determined to be able to compete at the Olympic level, you are held to the same standard as all other Olympic athletes. That's sports being fair. That's the competition being fair that we have to be able to rely on. Last but not least, as Richardson herself pointed out, she is Black, Camilla's white. There's a whole lot that goes into that I'll let everyone else draw their own conclusions about, but it has to be pointed out too. That's not a part of this conversation.
Quick question, Mark. Do you know, did Sha'Carri get disqualified by the IOC or by American, like the American, like Olympic Committee?
I would assume it was the IOC because
you think?
Otherwise it wouldn't be a bigger. It wouldn't be as big of a topic of discussion. But I just want to make sure. My thing is, Russia's already not even competing as Russia. They're competing as the Russian Olympic Committee because they have so many doping scandals. So this just enables them even more. It's black or white. If you're going to dope, you cannot be in the Olympics. That's all I got to say.
Well, she won the appeal, right? So she is able to compete.
Yeah, she skated and won gold, right?
And they're not going to have ceremonies if she's on the podium.
But she still wins her medal.
So that takes away for the silver and bronze. Like they're not going to be on the podium, which is
I think the silver and bronze favorites are, if I don't even know if the event has happened yet, but if the silver or bronze medalists, I think the favorites are Russia also.
I think the US won silver and won already. There's some that have already taken place and there's still some that are going to continue, but yeah.
To be clear, I did look it up while we were talking, and Richardson's situation was actually that she was suspended for 1 month by the United States Anti-Doping Agency after testing positive for marijuana. So good call on that, Ryan. I think it's just something that, as a group, perhaps the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency or whoever governs this kind of thing needs to take another look at. Because the situation's silly.
I think the reason I wanted to bring that up is because the IOC historically is just very messy. It's like FIFA, it's got a lot of corruption in there. I mean, you look at everything that happened with Rio in 2016, even Tokyo last year. I mean, just a lot of stuff that goes into all of this. And it does not surprise me one bit that this committee came forward and was just like, the star basically of this, because she's basically the star of the women's figure skating event. I mean, they've been headlining her and all that stuff because she is 15 and because she is incredible. Like, of course, they're probably just going to be like, she can compete. Like, we need the best athletes to compete at our event because our event is not doing so hot right now. Like, I mean, I don't know. And I think from, the Richardson perspective, America is a lot different than Russia. So it's, I think they might look at things a little bit differently. And they're the ones who decided that that she wasn't able to compete.
All good points. Look at us solving the world's problems on the Program Guys podcast. Shout out to us. Speaking of problem solving, Ryan, I'm having a problem. I need something to watch. That's called a segue.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Great segue.
Yeah. That's why that's
Wow.
why you guys pay me the big bucks.
What a
Ryan,
segue.
it's the must watch of the week. It's the most watched segment sometimes on our YouTube channel. Ryan, hit me with it.
Guys, look, I know this is probably not the most watched segment on the podcast.
I enjoy it. I watch it.
I know.
Picks.
Hey,
I
look,
enjoy
I
it.
know. It's not OU football related, but we like to shift it up here.
Team Ryan.
We got to talk about other things. And I'm going to keep coming to you with some weird shows and some things you probably haven't heard of and some things you haven't seen, because there needs to be more people out there who are watching these shows so they get made. And so we get more content. So anyway, little spiel over before I get
More
into
weird
this
Ryan
week's
shows.
must watch of the week. Yes, I need more weird Ryan shows. Guys, I'm about to go next week probably to a theater to watch a 3-hour foreign film that doesn't have a lot of dialogue in it. And it's like, it's nominated for Best Picture. So if that doesn't just wrap me up in like, a bubble, that's basically who I am.
You can't see it or hear it on the video or the podcast, but I actually just threw up 15 times during that sentence.
It's just really just, describes me perfectly. Okay, so this watch of the week, we are going to go with a television show on HBO Max. And guys, this one I had never heard of until it popped up on my screen. So it is called The Girl Before, and it was released, I believe, on February 10th, so last Thursday. The full season was released, and here's one of the best parts. The full season is only 4 episodes. It's wonderful. We love a good short mini series. It starts and then it ends real quick. You could watch it in a weekend. You could watch it in a day, probably. I watched it over.
That's part of the reason you had me with What If is because it was so short. That's why I was
this one is like 2 what ifs, but not that bad considering some of the longer television shows that we have. And I mean, my hot take on television shows is most of them are way too long. So I'm always a fan of brevity and tell a concise, compact story with the time that it needs, not anymore. So we love a good 4-episode series. This is a British 4-episode drama, also thriller. And it stars, I'm going to hopefully not screw up the pronouncing these names, but we have Gugu Batha Raw, who you probably know from Loki. She was Ravonna in Loki. She's also in The Morning Show. She's also in a couple other indie movies. She's very, very good. And then you have David Oyelowo, who plays MLK in the 2014 movie Selma, which is one of my favorite movies of that year. Just a really incredible performance by him. So 2 British actors, and the whole cast is British. So what this show is about is it's based on a 2017 novel, and a woman played by Batha Raw moves into kind of a unique, minimalistic London home created by this well-known architect. So the architect only lets certain people live in it. It's got a very low rent, like for the type of home that it is. You wouldn't think the rent would be low, but he has like very strict rules on how you're going to live. And as she kind of begins to understand like what happened in the house before with some of the previous tenants, and as her relationship kind of grows with the architect as well, she finds that there were people living in the house beforehand who have a lot of similarities to her, especially women. So she begins to kind of question if her fate will be similar to the girl who lived there before her, which is why it's called The Girl Before. So a barrier to entry here, I would say,
Mark had a question before you go. Mark.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was
Thanks.
looking at my outline.
Oh, you're good. No, you're fine.
Go for
So you said that there are weird like rules that he has for her as a tenant. Could you give
Yeah.
like an example? I want to know
Yeah.
what kind of weird rule we're
Yeah,
talking
she like you like can't bring in like any like personal items. So there's no like pictures. You can't bring in you can't have like any television in there. You can't bring any, all your electronics have to be hooked up to this like housekeeper system, which is like the AI of the home.
Is one of the rules
Is it futuristic?
Well, the home is a little futuristic, yeah, but it's very like minimalist, made of stone, and it's set in today's time. Though it's stuff that people could do nowadays.
Is
so
one of the rules no pedophilia?
yes,
Is that a rule?
that is.
This is
well,
Ryan's
actually, they don't.
must-watch of
Actually,
the
they don't
week.
say
You know
that.
that's not a rule.
Actually, they don't say that. Guys, stop giving me shit for licorice pizza. Still, none of y'all have
Stop
seen
standing
this.
up for licorice pizza.
Ryan, you
Nominated
just
for
said, you
3
just
Academy
said,
Awards.
Ryan, you just said technically they don't say it. You don't. It doesn't need to be said. It doesn't need to be a rule. You don't need them. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway, so just like very, very particular rules that you have to live by in this. So barrier entry, I would say, it's only 4 episodes, but it does start a little slow. Like in the first like 30 minutes of the first episode, you kind of have to, it starts with like exposition and kind of setting the scene. I will say that the writing is kind of hit or miss with some like pretty like badly written dialogue in certain scenes. So like you'll know what I'm talking about when you watch it, but most of the time you can just get through those scenes and there's something waiting for you better on the other side. Okay, so some of the good stuff here. Bathara and Oyelowo are stellar. So, not really shocking. They're both really, really good actors at very, very high points in their career. I will say the best performance of the show is done by a relative newcomer, Jessica Plummer, who plays kind of the girl before. So I guess a little bit more context to this. This show is kind of played over 2 timelines, one showing the Bathara character and one showing the Jessica Plummer character, who is set 3 years in the past. So you kind of see their interlocking stories and how they are very similar to each other and how they're kind of going down similar paths. And I will say that like, because of that, the show is able to direct certain episodes with some really, really incredible shots of like overlapping the 2 women, like in the same scenes. And you're like seeing one thing and you're seeing it from, Jessica Plummer's character. And then you're seeing another thing from Bathara's character, and they're kind of happening at the same time. And the show's kind of showing you that and playing with your mind a little bit. And that's really cool. The house itself is incredible, just like the design and all that stuff. If you're really into like architectural digest and all that stuff, it's really cool to see. And good score, good mystery and suspense building. And yeah, it's only 4 episodes, so it's not too labor intensive of a watch, and I think it'll keep you going a little bit. So did you guys have a chance to check out the trailer that I linked?
Honestly, I feel super bad because I didn't see that you put the trailer in until we got to this segment. And
That's okay.
Me too. I feel bad.
Me too.
Yeah, I did not see.
So no one watched it.
Usually, see, you did the good thing, folks, when like Ryan's very professional. When you link something in a word, like it says here and it's a link, I'm an idiot and do a lot better when I see a lot of random ass characters and like a long URL. I'm way more inclined to click on that.
Dude, I work for like a tech company.
I know, dude.
We
That's
like
why
we put everything in like embedded links.
I work and I write on a website. I have to embed stuff like that too.
Yeah.
I'm just simple-minded. I like to see long links. I go, I should click on that. That's just kind of how I think.
Yeah. So go check it out, guys. It's a good one. It's an easy watch. I will see if I go 6 for 6,
No.
Get out of here. Get out of here with that. I'll say I'm excited for this one. This one actually looked really good. I'm going to talk to Cassie and see if we don't watch this one, because Gugu was really good. And Loki, and I think especially the stuff that you're talking about, the overlapping shots where, I'm thinking, me, I'm thinking of Westworld and the way that they do some of that stuff, and sounds super interesting. So
after I get through Love's Blind, I might check this out.
Jesus, Patrick.
Come on.
Season 2 just came out, so fair.
Yeah,
fair.
season 2 came out.
That's fair.
Matt, you gonna watch that?
I was a big fan of the first
Matt,
season.
let's get you on that show. What are we doing?
That's probably the only way I'm going to find love, because they saw me through the wall. I mean, just being fair.
Guys, I have a follow-up question for what to watch.
Yes.
How would you guys feel about me talking about foreign films? Are you guys good with that?
I'm out. My heart out.
Ryan.
Okay.
My heart out. I'm a hard out.
I've seen the Parasite.
I'm trying to see how far we can push this, guys. We got to get like that indie scene. I'm going to watch an indie movie this weekend. I'm super excited about it. I'm super stoked. So I didn't know like if I could like.
No, English is necessary.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Anything before we get out of here? Anybody have anything to add before we get out of here? I have one thing to add at the very end, but I want it to be our last thing. So,
yeah, I just have one kind of like segment I want to talk about, but I think I know Mark was about to jump the gun. So, Mark, if you got something,
no, I want you to go.
Go.
Yeah, I just meant to talk about it when we were talking about the Super Bowl, and then obviously the NFL honors. We talk a lot of football, but I think one thing we did miss was just, and you guys didn't know if you guys know this or not, but just the incredible season that Cooper Kupp had. I just want to give you a fun fact, because I love giving fun facts. He is the only receiver to win Triple Crown. So that would be most TDs, most yards, most catches.
Is that like a racehorse statistic also?
Yeah, it is.
That's like the first thing.
That's what they call it. That's what they call it.
It exists. And go ahead, man.
He won Offensive Player of the Year, which we mentioned in the NFL honors, and he won Super Bowl MVP. To give you a fun fact, who is also an all-time great wide receiver, Jerry Rice. He's the only one that's won those awards, but Cooper Kupp's the only one that's done it in one season. Jerry Rice did it over multiple seasons. So just want to give a shout out to Cooper Kupp. He probably had one of the most amazing seasons by a wide receiver ever. I mean, 145 catches, 1,900 yards, 16 touchdowns. Just give a shout out from a guy from Eastern Michigan. Is that where he went? I can't remember. To come to the NFL, have an incredible season like that, it will go down as one of the greatest seasons of all time by an individual player.
Also, his dad and his grandpa played in the NFL, so let's not act like he's a bum from Eastern Washington. Like, the dude had genetic makeup to be very
third-round pick.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, fun fact.
Mark,
fun fact.
No, I was thinking, but I guess I don't have anything really. Definitely go check out that Rivals article that I plugged earlier. If you want to learn a little bit more about Brent and how he's assembled his staff.
Mark, I know you want to talk about it. Give me 60 good seconds on Lord of the Rings. Give me 60 good seconds.
If he gets 60 seconds, I want 60 seconds.
You just got 8 minutes. No.
I don't need 60. I don't need 60. Here's my thing. We all watched the Super Bowl. We all saw the Lord of the Rings commercial. I think it looks way too fairy tale like. Shouts out to Matt Gann. He called it perfectly. It looks like Peter Pan. There are sparkles in the air. There's sparkles on the people. It's not Twilight. That's not what I'm looking for. The original Lord of the Rings trilogy was great because they used practical effects, and all those people did the things they were doing, or had makeup or prosthetics to look like the things they were trying to look like. They weren't CGI altering them to make them look like the things they're supposed to look like. It looked much more like The Hobbit mixed with a Disney movie than the OG Lord of the Rings that I was looking for. Obviously, I am open to watching this thing. I'm very excited. I am going to watch, but I was disappointed with that commercial.
Ryan, you have 20 seconds.
I have 20 seconds. All I'm going to say is Joanna Robertson at The Ringer, who is a critic who I think is really great, said she's seen a couple of the episodes and that they are awesome. So that's all I need.
Okay. That was your Lord of the Rings breakdown from the program, guys. Patrick, I know you're a big fantasy fan. Anything to add?
Nope.
You sure?
No, actually, I can watch Lord of the Rings. I don't know if I can with like all the CGI stuff, but Lord of the Rings I can do.
That makes me
more real. They look like people.
That makes me super
Patrick
mad
is 100%.
Not Marvel.
I
That makes me
mean,
super mad.
Patrick
No.
is 100% the target audience for this, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Patrick's
Sure,
talking about it.
everyone is. They're paying more money than God for it. Everyone is the target audience for this. That's why it looks the way it does.
It's
All
gonna
right,
make
guys.
a lot of money.
Last thing I want to get to. I can't believe we're 6 episodes in. I haven't done this yet, but I want to give a massive shout out to Trevor Morse. He's our guy working behind the scenes. If you watch our YouTube channel, he's the guy who makes all the graphics for that. He made our logo. He helps out a lot with Twitter graphics, social media graphics, all that stuff. We're in the process of doing some other things that you guys will hear about shortly. Just give it some time, and Trevor's hard work behind the scenes is immensely appreciated, and wanted to give him a huge shout out because he is a program guy. He's just not here with us.
Absolutely.
And Trevor, big thank you for Trevor. Everybody snaps for Trevor. Snaps for Trevor.
Thank you, Trevor.
We wouldn't be
Thank you, Trevor.
close to where we are. without
Absolutely not.
Trevor's
Yeah.
contributions.
Completely.
We would
Absolutely
not
not.
be close.
So that's all we got. Episode 6 is a wrap. Be sure to follow us on all social media. Once again, at the Program Guys with a Z on Twitter, at Program Guys with a Z on Instagram. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Be sure to leave us a comment. Tell us what you're thinking about certain stuff. We love to hear from you guys. That's all we got. Pat, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.